everybody. Good morning. Welcome in Tuesday here at Longshore and McKnight. Brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. A little rainy out there today, but we're going to make it through here on a Tuesday. I'm John Longshore. He's Barry McKnight. We're ready to go.
Yes, we got a lot going on the program today. A lot of commentary today about some of the things we're seeing. Tonight, of course, is the next iteration of the College Football Playoff Committee rankings. Will there be changes? Of course. How big will the changes probably be? Not a ton, but it's probably well deserved. There's plenty to get to on the show today. I want to read this because this, John, is kind of justification of what you and I had been kicking around over the last several days. I sent it to you at longshoreandmcknight@gmail.com so you can take a look. There's a piece from on3.com. It's not earth-shaking or anything. On3.com, where they talked with Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin. Now, we kind of respect Kiffin because, I mean, he'll talk. He'll say what's on his mind. You know, you want to know, man, how are coaches feeling about all this? You can talk to some of them, and they're like, well, we're not focusing on that. We're simply taking it one game at a time or whatever. Kiffin will tell you. Lane Kiffin was talking in this article at on3.com about the SEC championship game. John brought up this subject weeks ago. And Lane Kiffin says this, quote, I've talked to other coaches, so I'll just kind of give you the feeling from some other coaches that they don't want to be in the SEC championship game. This is Kiffin saying this. Yeah. You know, the reward to get a bye in the college football playoff versus the risk of getting knocked out completely, I mean, that's a really big risk. I think it has ended up being a very unique situation of all postseason sports, the way the system is set up there. How could you go to the SEC championship and get knocked out of the college football playoff race? And if you don't go to the SEC championship game, you're in. There's great benefits to this playoff system and so many people being excited and fans and programs and more games. And then there's cost too. The conference championships don't mean as much. And it's not just, do you potentially get knocked out by losing that? Do you have more injuries? So you're going to get more injuries, play another game and get a bye, but then the other people are having their bye while you're playing in the conference championship game? So I think that's why, and I'll go on record on saying it, why a lot of coaches, or some coaches that I've talked to, don't want to go.
Yeah, I certainly get it. We've talked about it a lot, Barry. I wonder, it's interesting. Ole Miss has never been to the SEC championship game, so that's an interesting little twist as well. And I certainly get it because we've talked about it a lot. You know, the value, the benefits of going and how it could possibly hurt you. I think it just depends on what team it is. And I'm not saying that in terms of, well, they're not going to keep a team like Alabama out. I just think it depends on your record, your strength of schedule, your margin of victory, all this type of stuff that gets factored in. I mean, Alabama seems to be in a really good position with 2 losses because of their strength of schedule. Obviously, beating Georgia was big. That helped them out. You know, is beating LSU on the road that big of a deal anymore now? Maybe not as much as it was a week or so ago.
Right.
But I still wonder, and I've talked to people that are just, determined that the loser of the SEC championship game will not be left out of the 12-team playoff. If this team's got 3 losses and they end up with a 4th, I think they're getting left out. What is Ole Miss as strong of a 2-loss team as Alabama is? I think you got to factor all those things in. I don't know.
Both teams had a win over Georgia. You know, they're similar, but Alabama's had more quality wins, and that's another is
further down the poll. When the poll's released tonight, look where Ole Miss is, look where Alabama is.
Yeah.
You know, what is it about Alabama that has got them over a 2-loss Ole Miss team? Ole Miss did lose to Kentucky, but Alabama lost to Vanderbilt.
It's hopefully, and there's been some back chat about this. I've got plenty of quotes about this, about coaches that are suspicious of the college football playoff committee because they think they're just counting wins. Well, this or losses. This team's got 3 losses. Yeah, but they got 4 top 25 wins or whatever. Alabama's got 4 wins against the top 25. Ole Miss, they got 1.
Yeah, and now
So-
that current top 25, I've always wondered about that. When they played them, they were in the top 25.
Right,
Now, since
yeah.
that time, they've lost 4 other games.
Well, Rick, it's just those are the stronger teams. Regardless of the top 25 then or now or what, those are better teams than a win over ULM or a win over, who were some of the Tennessee Tech, from earlier in the year or whatever. They've got to. It's a difficult job being in the college football playoff committee. It really is. But if you had your choice, I mean, if a coach is playing and if they win this last game of the regular year, they play for the SEC championship game. And you ask the coach, hey, look, I bet you're in. I bet you're going to make it. Would you rather not play this game and just take your chances? I bet a lot of coaches would. I just want to be sure, whatever.
Couple of
because
things.
you could, because some of those, I don't know that if you make the SEC championship game, regardless of your record, you're in. And I definitely don't know that if you lose the SEC championship game and that's your 4th loss, you got to be out.
How about if we go back to the old way? Pre-conference championship game, the team with the overall best record, and if there's a tie at the end, and both teams are 11-1, and there's some tiebreaker formula, but award the SEC champion based on overall record, like it was done pre-1992.
Right. Yeah.
Number 2, if we go to 16 teams in a playoff, will those 4 additional teams and those additional games produce enough revenue to convince these leagues to do away with conference championship games? And the only 2 leagues I'm really talking about are the SEC and the Big Ten.
Right.
I got to think those 2 games make a ton of money. I'm not sold the ACC and the Big 12 game championship game make as much.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the other championship games down the line don't either. I'm with you. I think that the SEC, the Big Ten and the SEC particularly,
right,
kind of lost some of their luster due to the expanded playoff. And when somebody gets burned, and it's going to happen, is that when they're going to do something about it, or are they going to be proactive and go ahead and let's nip this in the bud right now?
Look, right now in the SEC, right now, there's nobody undefeated in the league. Texas has 1 loss. Texas A&M has 1 loss. Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss all have 2. Nobody's going to, unless all of those teams lose, all of them lose one of their last 2 games, there's no chance a 3-loss team gets in the SEC championship game. So we're talking about something that may happen, but probably won't.
Yeah.
And if the coaches had their choice, they'd probably, man, I don't want to lose my running back is just hanging by a thread anyway, health-wise, if he gets dinged up in the SEC championship game, even if he's done for 2 games, or even if has to sit out 1. I'd rather not play that game.
So you play a 12-team regular season. You go to the SEC championship game. That's 13. You lose it, but you happen to go all the way to the championship game. Are you playing 17 games? Is that 4 more games you'll play, or 3?
If you play and lose it, I mean, that's 13.
You play the next
then
week.
First round game, that's 14. Then you get to the second round game, that's 15. Then you get to the That's 17 games.
17 games, as many as the NFL plays in the regular season. I'm with you. Somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
You got to play, the next week. And actually, I think there's a week off before you play. I don't think you immediately go because I think the first round's on the 20th of January.
Yeah.
So you do get a week, but maybe I guess the top 4 seeds get 2 weeks.
Correct. Yes, that's correct.
Before they play.
So,
which is a long, long layoff for them. Jeez.
Yep.
It's a great,
Lane,
it's a marquee event, but I certainly see. But I've had people, Barry, tell me, particularly in Alabama's case, if they go to Atlanta and lose, they're still in the playoff.
I agree with that. But what happens if they go to the playoff, play Texas, and Milroe turns an ankle?
Good point.
Not big, but he's got to sit out. Alabama loses that game because Milroe's not playing. So they got to play. They got to play in a first round game. They'll host.
Yep.
But Milroe can't play. What were we looking at? Maybe Notre Dame in the Notre Dame in South Bend. You got to go to South Bend in a do or die game without your starting quarterback, just because you had the honor of playing in an SEC championship game that Bama fans don't care about anyway. How many of you anymore buy SEC championship game T-shirts or get your picture taken with the SEC champion trophy when it swings by Walmart?
Not interested.
The risk is big.
Yeah, sure it is. It used to be a big deal. I mean, I guess, but with the expanded playoff, it has kind of been diluted. If we do go to a 9-game conference schedule and they're thinking about starting the regular season a week early, like week 0, but that'll be week 1, late August. Maybe they can, schedule things a little bit differently. I don't know, but I think there's going to be a situation where somebody gets bitten and they're not going to like it a bit.
And you're gonna see it. It's going to happen. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but sometime. And the fans of those schools. And I want you guys to say, I want you guys to think and remember, I remember Longshore McKnight talking about that and saying it was going to happen. Those guys are ahead of their time.
Did Kiffin mention us in this article? I mean, Lane, hello.
Kiffin says it's a really big risk. John and Barry said, I think it's a unique situation. No.
Man, Lane, how about some loving? Great article about Kiffin and his dog in Ole Miss in the latest edition of Garden and Gun magazine. I received mine yesterday in the mail. Really good.
You subscribe to Garden and Gun?
It's awesome. I love it.
So that means John's got 2 subscriptions that I know about that come in the mail.
Yeah, exactly.
One he's had ever since he was a young child.
I wonder why the garden part's in there. There's not a lot of garden stuff. It's more about, hunting and traveling and food and football games. But I don't know. It sounds good. It's a great magazine. I love the advertisements in there. They're really, really slick. Let me ask you this, though.
All right.
Nobody's brought this up. And I'm seeing you, Bama fan. I'm seeing you out there. You're getting a little giddy. You're getting back to your old self, if you know what I mean. After a couple of hiccups and hitting the reality check, now you're back thinking, playoff, sure. Championship game, whatever. What I haven't heard Bama fan talk about is, here's what they're saying. Well, after we take care of Oklahoma and Auburn, we'll have our sights set squarely on Texas, who we owe anyway. What I'm not hearing is, what if Missouri does not win one of their next 2 games? Because the factor says Bama's got to win out and Missouri's got to win one of the next 2. What if they don't? What if Bama wins out, but Missouri does not win out? Then what happens? Who gets in?
That's deep in the weeds there.
I mean,
I love what you're saying. And to be honest, I thought it was healthy for the collective mental health of the Alabama nation certainly to have lost the Vanderbilt game, because it proves that they're human. I mean, even though they haven't won a championship in 4 years,
has it been that long?
It kind of brings them back. But I'm hearing the same thing. This sort of, this is how Bama fan considers the game this week against Oklahoma in Norman, and the Auburn game is like, just a little warm up here. Let's get stretch. Let's get a good stretch going. Get the kinks out and all that. Good stuff.
I'm feeling a little cockiness from the Bama Nation, but maybe this is something Travis could help us answer. Travis Reier joining us at the top of the next hour. If Missouri does not win one of their next two, what happens to Bama? Because everything I've read and heard, Bama's got to win out, and Missouri's got to win one of the next two. Now, granted, it's at Mississippi State and hosting Arkansas. Winnable games, but you never know. But if Missouri doesn't win out, then what happens to Bama?
I say big deal. Well, Texas and Texas A&M, they're both 5-1. One of them will lose this weekend against each other. Georgia, Tennessee, 5-2. Tennessee has a win over Alabama, but a loss to Georgia. Alabama at 4-2. Ole Miss at 4-2. That's 6 teams right there. 6 teams. Those are the 6 teams in the SEC that have 2 conference losses. And hopefully that means something. Texas has 1 overall loss. A&M, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss all have 2 overall losses, which, hopefully they take a look at.
Yep.
That's 6. All 6 ain't getting in.
No.
One of those 6 is not.
I mean,
Alabama does have 4 wins over top 25 teams, maybe they're top 25, whatever. I don't know that they need help. Ultimately, if they win their games, I don't know that they need help from Missouri to get in.
Everything I've read is Missouri's got to win one of the next 2. I just wanted to read. I hadn't looked at the matrix or the tiebreaker stuff, but I've read a lot about that. 2 games.
I don't doubt it.
I just win, but what if they don't? Hey, everybody out there on the River Region Straw chat line, thanks so much. Good morning to everybody. We appreciate it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Longshore and McKnight, in conjunction with our good friends at Yellowhammer News. Check out yellowhammernews.com. Check them out on Instagram, on X, on Facebook. They're all over the place. And, of course, each and every day, there's a nice piece about Longshore and McKnight right there. Kind of a wrap-up of our show, some video content as well. So check it out at yellowhammernews.com. Going to get to some of our chats when we return. Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com, on our City of Montgomery guest hotline at the bottom of this hour.
It's Longshore and McKnight underway on this Tuesday show presented by Bud Light.
Shopping for a budget-friendly, reliable used car, or maybe a stunning new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram? Well, in Prattville, it's always a process that starts with the team of professionals from Stivers CDJR. Thanks to years of experience helping others in the local community enjoy premium service, low prices, and access to a wealth of amazing new and used cars, it's safe to say that Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the name to beat in Prattville. But hey, just don't take my word for it. Experience the Stivers difference for yourself. Prices that will not be beat. A huge inventory and knowledgeable, helpful sales associates. See why so many happy car and truck buyers shop at Stivers CDJR, where price spells cars and trucks on Cobbsford Road in Prattville.
Hi, this is Benji with Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Guys, this is the time to shop. The holidays will be here before you know it. Our cases are slam full, so take advantage and lay away for Christmas now. We have a full repair shop and design shop. So if you dream it, we can make it for her. And if you need any repairs, we have an in-house master jeweler. At Marguerite's, we make it. We really make it. At Marguerite's, we are open 7 days a week. Come see us at the Preparatory Shopping Center, 8163 Vaughn Road, Montgomery, Alabama, right by Chappie's.
Enjoy all the food, drink, fun, and winning at Victoryland. an elevated entertainment value, the best overall casino experience, and the highest jackpot payouts makes Victoryland the place to be. Go to Victoryland.com to find out more about their incredible giveaways, daily promotions, and free play opportunities. 777 Casino, simulcast Thoroughbred, and Greyhound Racing are all within a short drive from anywhere in the Southeast. Victoryland, I-85, exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. At Victoryland, you can be a winner too.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Hey, you heard it just a moment ago. The crazy, wacky blowout sale is going on now at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. It's the pre-Thanksgiving sale. And I'm telling you, every item in the store, crazy, wacky blowout priced. You got to check it out. Open 7 days a week. Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, 8163 Vaughn Road in Pepper Tree. Great time to get those Christmas gifts right now during that pre-Thanksgiving blowout sale at Marguerite's, where they make it. They really make it.
Some good stuff, and we promise, even though we haven't heard from Chris the Bammer this morning, we're going to get to the topic wheel as early as we can. Some good stuff in our River Region Straw chat line. Call Kenny and his staff at 669-5959. Actually, when Danny from Margaritaville gives us his wide breadth of sports knowledge, it's actually pretty good.
Barry, and Danny's been a little under the weather, so I'm glad to see he's back feeling a lot better. Yeah, he's been a little under the weather. But Danny, based on the number of chats we've already received this morning, I think you're feeling your old self today.
He's feeling a lot better. Yep, he's a volume chatter. He says Alabama's teams and fans' main goal every year is to bring home the Natty. If Alabama doesn't have to play in the SEC championship game to make the playoffs, it's a no-brainer. Skip it. A lot of people feel that way. But
is it not already happened maybe a time or two where they didn't make the SEC championship?
If you viewers don't know that it has happened, then you hadn't been paying attention, because John will remind you of that a lot. It does happen. So I get what you're saying, Danny. As a matter of fact, if if it wasn't for the honor of winning the SEC championship, who needs it, really? But I agree with Bob from Pike Road here.
Yeah, Bob from Pike Road got a good take.
Yeah, he says, call me old school, but an SEC title will always be special. The SEC is the premier league in all of college football. When I was growing up, my SEC team never won an SEC title. Never. It was, I want to say, Galen Hall who first won one, or Spurrier or somebody. It never happened whenever I was young and in school, but it is special. But what we're talking about is risk versus reward. Do you want to play in that game and lose it and have to get right back and play somebody else, or play it and lose your starting safety again, or lose your, lose a running back or something?
And our younger audience are thinking, wait a minute, they used to not play the championship game? And how did they determine who the champ was? I mean, that's how we grew up. I mean, pre-1992, you just thought, well, okay, so-and-so won the title. They had the most wins.
It would also, in those days, kind of serve as a rationalization for a lot of fans. Kids, there was a stretch in the 1980s where Auburn won 3 straight SEC championships under Pat Nye. I want to say it was 87, 88, and 89. 3 straight under Coach Dye. Never won a natty, but 3 straight SEC championships. And back in those days, there were certain fans of certain schools who were saying, yeah, but they shared those championships. They weren't outright titles. They had to share them with, heck, LSU or Alabama or Georgia or somebody. Co-championships.
I do remember the 89. There were 3 teams.
Championships.
Yeah, there were 3
Mhm.
3 conference champions in 89,
Yep.
Alabama, Auburn, and Tennessee. Auburn beat Alabama in 89, but they still shared the SEC title. That doesn't seem right. I love how JR this is I love my man JR talking
Sure,
about
who doesn't?
talking about Bama fans, and he says, John, what's not to like about how Alabama is playing? They're getting better defensively. Jalen is getting back in his groove, and the team seems to be gelling. That is a nice, unique, proper, just polite way to say, we back. We are back.
What's not to like? We're great.
We're great. I
Uh-huh.
love how you did that, JR. I feel you, man. I love it.
They're getting better defensively. Jalen is getting back in his groove. Like the system said, don't disturb this groove.
That's right.
Seems to be gelling. I agree with all that. So, therefore, if whatever John's hypothesis is here, that somehow Alabama's postseason lives depend on the Missouri Tigers.
It's really surprising me here. I've heard that, read it multiple times, that Missouri is a key factor.
I would wonder just how many people would be listening to us and saying, man, I cannot wait for Longshore and McKnight to be on the air Monday morning. Alabama wins out. They beat Oklahoma. They beat Auburn. And they don't play in the SEC championship game, and they don't play in the college football playoff because of Missouri. I can't wait to hear what Longshore. I mean, I think a lot of times in terms of what's good for this show, always have. Alabama wins out and goes to the Gator Bowl because Missouri didn't take care of business again.
You're talking about opt-outs. You're talking about fans screaming, revolt, chaos in the streets.
Dogs and cats living
that-
together. They've got Missouri has got
They're at Mississippi State.
at
and goes to
Mississippi State and
Arkansas.
at home against Arkansas.
Winnable, but Drinkwitz's
losable.
kind of quirky, but they're certainly losable. Hey, Tobias, I see you, my man. Tobias is coming into town on Sunday via the Montgomery Regional Airport.
Hey.
Glad to hear that, Tobias. As a matter of fact, Barry and I will be out at MGM next month. As a matter of fact, we'll be out there every month doing our program out there. Certainly excited about that, and our good friends at MGM getting better the more you use it, the Montgomery Regional Airport.
Also in news of the day, topic wheel stuff coming up, but just to get you caught up, Auburn basketball wins big defensive battle, big defensive performance for Auburn, which sounds strange because they score 102. But Auburn goes to 4-0 with a 102-69 home win against North Alabama. Janai Broome was absolutely dominant in that game. Now Auburn goes to Maui.
Oh, wow. When's the playing league?
I don't know. And speaking of the plane and speaking of Auburn, no, not Sellers, Indiana, and Bobby Petrino. Auburn's had some news with planes in the past.
I'm really interested to know what the seating arrangement's going to be all the way to Hawaii, about a 10-hour flight. That's a big plane, so they're not going to be sitting, they can spread them out a little bit, but woo.
The two guys who got in the fight, I mean, they were suspended for 2 games, didn't dress, but they dressed last night. They dressed out, but neither of them played. So
are they going to make the trip to Maui? I mean, I guess they dressed out last night. I guess they're going to make it.
So
maybe when we get back from our next break, maybe Brian Matthews can answer that along with a lot of other questions we have for Brian Matthews of AuburnSports.com.
We've got questions, always do. We continue on in association with Yellowhammer News. This is Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight. telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
Welcome to the holidays. They're officially here. Time for tradition, family gatherings, meals, and the annual scramble of searching for those last-minute gifts. Speaking of gifts, this season Budweiser's got your back. Head to the store right now and look for our Thanksgiving week specials. Why go all over town looking for that perfect gift when Budweiser takes care of everyone in one convenient ice-cold package? When you stock up on Budweiser with our Thanksgiving week specials, you'll have plenty to share with your friends and family. They'll all appreciate that Budweiser's brewed the hard way and has been for 140 years. We use the finest barley, malt, and hops grown in Idaho and Germany. We don't take any shortcuts when we're brewing. That's our tradition. So make the most of your holidays. Stop by your local store now for our Thanksgiving week specials. Grab enough Budweiser for yourself, your friends, and your family. It's a new holiday tradition everyone can enjoy together. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Budweiser Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the trail, Campion Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speed associated with our installation of the latest generation of Ultra Dwarf Bermuda grass. Both locations offer fully stocked pro shops with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com.
Already back at it here on a Tuesday, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy, in conjunction with our good friends at Yellowhammer News. Check them out at yellowhammernews.com, on Facebook, Instagram, X. They're all over the place. yellowhammernews.com. All right, our man Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com, going to talk about the Tigers, joining us here at our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Brian, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm just getting everything, wrapped up and ready to go on a big plane trip. I want to make sure I'm safe. Got my boxing gloves.
Yep.
My helmet.
Yep,
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yep. I wonder which compared more favorably, the Jake Paul Tyson fight or that one on the.
If I was going to pay $19.99 to watch a fight over the last couple of weeks, I think I would have been on that plane, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe
I'm with
so.
you.
Maybe
Yeah.
so. Let's start with basketball. The game last night, 104-69. Johni Broome was great. What are the takeaways, Brian?
Auburn is really good, and they're really consistent, and they play hard, and they're off to a great start, in my opinion. Love the competitiveness of this team. Their defense shows up every night, and we know going to Maui, I think they leave on Thursday, that defense is going to travel, right? That's going to give them a chance to be in most of these games unless they have one of those really bad nights against really elite competition. So that's a plus. And then, different guys, different night. I think you can count on Johni Broome to have, one of those games just about every time out, right? Another double-double. I think his 62nd double-double. Just missed his career high. I think he had 30 or 32, and I think 18 rebounds. So terrific night by him. And then the support staff, a different guy can step up every night. They've got a number of different weapons. Denver Jones, I thought, played terrific. Shot from the 3-point range really, really well, and everybody else I thought played really well. So I just think this is a really good team, and they're playing. This is the best team I've seen from Bruce Pearl in December. Let's put it that way, or November.
Yeah. I'm with you, Brian. I mentioned it yesterday. I know it's early and we got a lot of basketball to play, but I've been very impressed with what I've seen out of Auburn, just the way they play. When they get on the floor, they just look like a totally different team. I mean, in total control. And I'm with you. I think this team has got a lot going for it and could make a deep run in March.
Yeah, they don't seem to be bothered by stuff either, right? I mean, they go on, they have that issue with the plane, right? The fight, have to turn around or delay it around 7 or 8 hours getting to Houston. They go out there and play a great game against a great team. And you can watch them play and watch how they interact on the sidelines, on the bench. This team is having fun while going out there and playing really good. So I think that's a good sign that, the things that have happened off the court, not necessarily having a detrimental effect on the team, at least at the moment.
Let's switch to Jordan-Hare last Saturday. Auburn walked through ULM 48-14. Let's start at the quarterback position. The start of Peyton Thorne obviously was justified. His numbers are really good, and it seems like it would have a deeper meaning because, I mean, if you're playing him in this one, you're starting him from here on out, right? There's no controversy at that anymore, right?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case as long as he's healthy. He missed the bye week, set out of practice with his shoulder, but managed to come back and looked fine to me on Saturday throwing the ball. I think he played well. I think Auburn played pretty well. I think the only area that they were disappointed in from that game is they didn't get any takeaways. I think that's something they've been working really hard on defensively. The defense is playing great. They gave up just over 200 yards, but half of that basically came on 2 big plays. So I thought that was a terrific outing by them. And I think it was good to get some receivers involved like Cam Coleman, who has not had as many touches, as many targets as you probably like for a guy with his talent.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. We talked about it all last week. I really wasn't expecting Peyton Thorne to get the start and was surprised when I saw him. But as Barry mentioned, heck, he certainly deserved it. Led a great game, played well, looks healthy, and a great position to be in on this stretch run, Brian, with Texas A&M coming in Saturday night, then a trip to Tuscaloosa after that. I know there's some people out there going, wow, Texas A&M only a 2.5-point favorite at Jordan-Hare on Saturday. I can't say I'm totally surprised. I saw A&M go to Columbia, South Carolina and get blown out.
Right.
What are your thoughts about A&M coming in being just a slight favorite in that game Saturday?
If this was 10 years ago or 15 or 20, this has every hallmark of, to me, being an upset, right? You got Jordan-Hare Stadium, you got a night game, home dog, Texas A&M looking a week or later to maybe the biggest game they played in, 10, 15 years. I don't know last time they played Texas, at home. So, I mean, the opportunity I think is there for Auburn. They just have not been able to get over the hump yet, right? They get in these games, they play well. Sometimes they play better than the other team, and then they just blow it at the end. So we'll see if they can get over that hump because this is a great opportunity. I think it's important for them to get off to a decent start to keep the crowd into it because we know in these big games that Jordan-Hare can make a big difference, right? It can really get under the skin of other teams and really affect them offensively. So I think that's an important part of this game, and they just got to find a way to finish in the fourth quarter and not, do the mistakes and have those, things happen to them again and again.
Yeah. Hey, we got a lot of Auburn viewers that are watching this. You didn't even have to finish that sentence. They knew where you were headed on that, and they can probably come up with other words to say about that as well. We're also in crunch time, not only at the end of the regular year, but we're 2 weeks away from National Signing Day, and this is the time where sometimes commits get skittish. They start wearing down and listening to other coaches in their ear and everything. How solid and stable is this class for Auburn down the stretch?
I think it's really solid. There's 28 commitments right now, and they're looking to add a couple more down the stretch and maybe even flip some more big time players, which to me is amazing. 15 days from today is signing day. I think there are a couple of guys to keep a close eye on. Jared Smith visited South Carolina last weekend. He is a very talented edge rusher from a Thompson in-state kid. So I still think that's a tough pull for South Carolina, but we'll see. But I do think right now Auburn still feels pretty good about that one. And there's a couple other guys. Ole Miss is still trying to get Deuce. But I just feel like he's pretty solid with Auburn. He did flip from Notre Dame a month or so ago, and I don't think he wants to go through that again. So we'll see. There could be some excitement down the stretch for Auburn. In normal times, even if Auburn was playing well on the field, I'd still maybe expect some ups and downs. I think that's part of big boy recruiting. And I think what they're doing now with possibly heading toward their 4th consecutive losing season and putting together a class right now ranked 3rd in the country by rivals, top 5 in most places, I think is quite amazing. And it would be stunning to me if they pulled it off, but here we are 15 days away, and it looks like they're going to pull it off in some respects.
What about retaining the players that are currently on the roster?
They've been working on that for weeks now. And,
Isn't
I
that
think
funny
part
to
of
hear
that,
you say that?
yeah. Part of that is the personnel office, I guess you could call it now, with college football and the NIL group. Freezy mentioned Jason Campbell as part of that NIL collective and working with those players. So I think they try to take care of them at that level. And then the guys that they really need to talk to and really need to discuss the future for those guys, then they might have a meeting with Coach Freeze and work out the logistics of it. I think there's probably some guys that are going to leave because it's in their best interest to leave, right? And this goes for any college football team, but if you're a player that's been at a school for 2 or 3 years and you're not really part of that play in rotation, it's probably time for that player to maybe find a place where he can get out there and start playing and getting that experience. So I think that's going to happen at Auburn and all over the place. So I think it's probably going to be normal for Auburn to lose around 8 to 10 to a dozen players every single year because of that. But now they can sign as many players as they want. It looks like Auburn's going to try to sign around 30. And I'm sure they're going to go into the portal and get some important pieces too, starting with quarterback and tackle.
I'm glad you said that, because I just got a text from a guy who says, "What's Brian talking about? 28 commits? How can you say it ain't 25 anymore, Brian?"
Nope, it's unlimited there. Right now, it's still 85, I think.
Correct. Yes.
But
at the moment,
there's a lot of talk about what the roster limit's going to be. It has not been set yet. I think Auburn's still preparing it to be around 85, at least going in next year, but that's not set in stone yet. So that's still something they're working on.
I'm not gonna belabor this point because it's really sensitive and everything. But you're talking about guys who just haven't been in the rotation. I'm thinking about a couple of quarterbacks at Auburn, maybe. But I do want to know about this. Just your perceptions of Walker White being the first quarterback off the bench and how he looked, Brian.
I think he looked okay. All right. You can see the size, you can see the arm strength, you can see the athleticism, right? But he also was just 2 of 5 and had a fumble on one of his 3 or 4 runs. So, looked like a freshman out there in a lot of ways, but with that potential that you also saw. So I think that was important for him moving forward. I think he is one of the quarterbacks that will be back next year. He will have a chance to compete for the starting job in spring. So getting that experience is going to be a help for him. I think that quarterback room is obviously going to change. You got Deuce Knight coming in. You've got most likely at least one portal quarterback, maybe another we'll see coming in, and probably some guys moving out there, as you alluded to. So that's going to be a big competition come the spring. And I think Freeze felt like he knows what he has in Hank Brown and Holden Geriner, and just felt like he wanted to get Walker in there and get a look at him.
We talked earlier today, Brian. I'm just curious your thoughts about it. With the expanded playoff, people are wondering, why would you go to a conference championship game? In some cases you could lose it and it can hurt you, and you might have more losses than, you need to get into the playoff. What do you think? What are your thoughts about the future of conference championship games? Do you think they'll hang around forever, or do you think maybe they'll slowly fade away?
I think as long as they're making money for the SEC and Big Ten, they're here to stay, because these schools are desperate for different ways to make money. I do agree with you, however. I think Alabama is a great example right now. The best thing for Alabama, in my opinion, as a complete outsider, right, is for them to finish 5th in the rankings, host, so they skip out and not be in the SEC title game, so they get that extra week to prepare. Then they host a playoff game at home, and then they'd be bracketed with probably a Big 12 or ACC team in the next round. So that 5th or 6th spot could be, is that right? That's right, isn't it?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
If they're
Yeah.
5th
Yeah.
and then win the first one, yeah. Because the top 2 spots are SEC champion and the Big 10 champion, right? So to me, that's the perfect scenario if you're Alabama or really any team, if you're looking at it, to maybe position yourself in those spots if you don't win it and get the bye too. Obviously, that's a good place to be also.
Good stuff. I
hadn't
know we're
thought
going to
about
be
that,
seeing
for
how
sure.
that plays out over the years to come. We haven't asked you this. I don't believe we asked you last week, but what was your musical journey yesterday on your Monday
man.
musings?
One of my favorites personally, 20 years ago, Kurt Cobain, Nirvana, recorded their MTV Unplugged in Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan. Just an incredible show. You can go back and watch that now and you'll still be dazzled by it, right? And of course, he passed away. I think it was just several months after that from a suicide. And what a great loss to the musical world out there. Lives again so early.
Like a radio DJ, do you take requests? Do you take suggestions for maybe a musical musings column?
I do. I try to line it up though, so it happened on that day. Right?
Chronological.
Yes,
okay.
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I just saw that Foreigner was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which surprised me. I'm thinking they're not in the Hall of Fame yet. And I saw the ceremony. It was on HBO or something. And, those guys had a lot of great tunes. And heck, when they come on the radio now, I still turn it up and crank it up like I was, 17 at Jeff Davis.
And it still feels like the first time.
It does feel like the first time. You're right about that.
Well, you know what? One of my first ever albums, and it was actually a real album, was I think it was Foreigner 4. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but it was like that. And Billy Joel, Glass Houses. I remember I had that one. And I think, and I'm admitting, y'all gonna laugh at me. I think his name was Sean Cassidy, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah.
You had a Sean Cassidy album?
I think so. Yeah, I was young.
My older sister.
I didn't know
Unbelievable.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's too good. You didn't have a Jay
but
Ferguson
2 out of 3 is
album,
not
did
bad.
you?
Do what?
Jay Ferguson might have been a little bit too
No,
too
Yeah, I did
soon.
not have that one.
Brian.
That
Yeah.
was too early. Yeah. Brian Matthews, BMAT's Monday Musings, brought to you by Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. And just because Brian is the multimedia conglomerate that he is, you can actually use him and get a discount on Uncle Keith's.
You can.
Sure
And
can.
Uncle Keith's Red Sauce is homegrown right here in the state of Alabama. Available at Publix, Renfro's, Piggly Wiggly, statewide. Order online. Use discount code BMAT15 for 15% off your order. It's delicious. Give it a try.
It is great.
There you go.
You better believe it. Yep, good stuff.
Always.
Brian, as always, man, we appreciate your time. Always look forward to it. It's going to be a great weekend. We look forward to talking to you about it next Tuesday.
Sounds great. Look forward to it, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good stuff.
On our City of Montgomery guest hotline, that's Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com.
Yeah, he's been, I've known him for forever, even before he started working at auburnsports.com. Great guy, great content brought to you by the City of Montgomery here. Coming up at the top of the hour in just a little while, Travis Reier from Reier on YouTube. Gonna try to think of things to ask him. I'll be that guy. I'll be the one to say, hey, what do you think about Mercer? What about that game? But we've got a full segment planned with Travis. That'll take maybe 90 seconds in that one. So
yeah, well, Travis and Rodney, for some reason, seem to go a little longer. I don't know. People put the stopwatch on us when those guys are on. Who knows? Let me ask Barry. I thought this interesting. We were just talking about Auburn basketball, Alabama basketball. The Tide plays Illinois tomorrow night at Coleman Coliseum, a Big Ten team.
Good.
They need to bounce back. Didn't look good against Purdue. Teams reading their press clippings. Maybe they're a little bit little full of themselves, so they need to get back on the ground and play some good basketball. But I was looking at the schedule, Barry. Auburn and Alabama do not play each other until mid-February. So we got a long way to go before those two teams face off, and then they play again the last game of the regular season.
Yeah. I like that. The stuff about mid-February, good. They're good enough, both of them, to stand on their own without all, some of the sidewalk fans saying, hey, You say Auburn basketball's doing good? When do they play Alabama? That's when I'll start paying attention. Give me a break. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't, and, you know, I've complained about this in the past. I'm going to take a quick look, see if it even has that listed. But, you know, for some reason they would play these games. Yeah, it doesn't tell me what day of the week. You know, they play them on a Tuesday. You know, shouldn't the Auburn-Alabama game always be on a Saturday?
No.
I always wondered about that.
Just another game, man. It's just,
You know, it's all about marketing
Yeah,
and
yeah.
eyeballs and all that type stuff. I'm thinking, man, you got to put that game on a Saturday. But
No.
this is another thing they don't listen to me
Saturday's
about.
going to be a big crowd in Auburn anyway. Might as well get them on a Tuesday. Try to get a couple of extra people in there. Good stuff on our River Region Straw chat line.
Yeah, that
Danny
Illinois game's in Birmingham. Sorry, I thought it was in
Oh, yeah.
Tuscaloosa. It's in
Yeah,
Birmingham. Thank you.
at 8:00 at night. Watch out. Danny has slipped back into his old ways. He had it was such a promising start where he was, not talking about freeze or the
Yeah.
bugs or something like that.
He just was easing into it after being
yeah.
under the weather for a couple of days.
I won't get fooled again. I actually thought, hey, I can encourage Danny, give him a treat when he does something right and, rub his nose in it when he does something wrong. And I gave him a little treat, and then all of a sudden, boom, there he goes
Boom,
back again.
at it. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
back
Let's take
at
a
it.
break.
Let's
again,
take a break. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Very important. Also, check us out at yellowhammernews.com. Every afternoon, there's a write-up about Longshore and McKnight, kind of a review of what the show was all about, some video content as well. You can check it out at yellowhammernews.com, along with all of their other great stories, the news, the politics, the lifestyle, the sports. They got it all for you at yellowhammernews.com.
It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Shopping for a budget-friendly, reliable used car or a stunning new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram in Prattville is a process that should always start with your team of professionals on your side. Thanks to years of experience helping others in the local community enjoy premium service, low prices, and access to a wealth of amazing new and used cars, it is safe to say that Stivers Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram is the name to beat in Prattville. But don't just take my word for it. Experience the Stivers difference for yourself. Prices that will not be beat, a huge inventory, and knowledgeable, helpful sales associates. See why so many happy car and truck buyers shop at Stivers CDJR, where Price sells cars and trucks. Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville.
This is YHN News. I'm Scott Chambers. The Alabama Department of Tourism projects new records for tourism in 2024. The state has set a new record with travelers spending $23.5 billion in a single year. According to WSFA, nearly 29 million people vacation to Alabama's beaches, campgrounds, and other attractions. The top 5 destinations across Alabama are Baldwin, Jefferson, Mobile, Madison, and Montgomery counties. The city of Helena has been awarded the first Healthy Alabama Community designation in the state. The honor was given by the Alabama League of Municipalities. Helena has been successful in improving access to physical activities by connecting trails and sidewalks throughout the municipality. I'm Scott Chambers. You are listening to YHN News.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com. Couple of minutes before the top of the hour, Travis Ryer from Ryer on YouTube talking Tide, second helping. He's got a lot going on. He'll join us a little after 8 a.m. This morning, and we're certainly looking forward to Travis's appearance here on the show. Barry, I saw earlier today, and I'm glad everything's all right, but Philip had a little health scare, I understand. He's doing great. He kind of apologized to his loyal readers and followers for not having maybe a column yesterday or one on Sunday, but all's good with Philip. So he says in his latest entry today at auburnundercover.com, and man, I'm glad to hear Philip's doing well.
Yeah, no kidding. I did not know. That's that's good news. Best wishes to him for all of that. Last night, Auburn basketball wins over North Alabama. Now they go to Maui. I wonder how you get there. Because I guess they've got a small airport on the island. Auburn opens the Maui Invitational with Iowa State, and Iowa State's number 5. I think Auburn's number 4 in the latest. That'll be Monday.
Yep. Barry,
logistically, that just is interesting to me.
I cannot pronounce the name of the city that the airport is in. It starts with a K, but I do know their airport code is OGG. Why it's OGG, I do not know. I've actually flown into that airport before, so there actually is one there, but I can't pronounce the name. But you can fly direct from the West Coast straight into Maui. LA, San Diego, San Francisco, places like that. I think you came from Dallas as well, but they're probably going to Honolulu and then changing planes there, I would imagine. But maybe go to LA and go straight into Maui.
Kahului? Kahului?
Something like that.
How do you get OGG out of Kahului? Here's the story, and who knows why we go down these rabbit holes, why we take this
unique,
strange.
Yeah.
OGG is named after Jim Hogg, H-O, like boss Hogg. OGG is named after Jim Hogg, a former Hawaii Airlines pilot. In 1946, Jim Hogg became the chief pilot for Hawaii Airlines. When the VOR, I don't know what VOR stands for, when the VOR was installed at Kahului, Hogg had flown so many of the test flights that it was decided to name the Maui Navigational Facility.
I think that's some type of visual approach, maybe? Does VOR stand for some type of visual approach, something like that?
We'll have to get that.
But I did not know that. But I did know that the airport code was OGG, and it's a smaller airport, obviously. But it's convenient. But so they might fly into OGG, they might fly into HNL, which is Honolulu. That makes sense. Some of these airport codes, though, Bear, like Knoxville, Tennessee, is TYS. It's Tyson Municipal Airport or something like that.
My buddy, I get MGY and I get NWA for Northwest Arkansas, but
New Orleans, I believe, is MCI. If I'm not mistaken.
Go figure. My buddy Andy.
Orlando is MCO.
My buddy, that's because the airport there used to be McCoy. Well, the Air Force Base there. So my buddy Andy Stubblefield, I'll never forget, he's from Sioux City, Iowa. And I swear to gosh, the airport code for Sioux City, Iowa is SUX. Now, they gave them that a long time before. SUX was a staple on Alabama fans' poster board signs at college game day with the word Auburn in front of it. But hey, yeah. Preston says, how do you get it's MSY in New Orleans?
MSY, that's right.
How do you get MSY out of New Orleans? Go figure. MCI is Kansas City.
I don't know. I will say, Barry, that I'm so glad, and I want to say that our persistence of hammering it home over 30-plus years, but I'm glad to see that people in our area refer to their town as MGM, like the airport code.
Yep.
We've used that term many a time. People used to use things like MGY or, what I said, no, it's MGM, like the airport code. So I'm
Yeah.
glad we'll refer to that more often now.
Maybe Alabama State one of these days when they come out on the basketball court with, some retro uniforms. Why not MGM across the front?
I
Kinda
have
like
actually
18
got an MGM T-shirt. It says big block letters MGM, and somebody did ask me one time. Said, "Did you work at the airport or something? Isn't it the airport code?"
Yeah.
I went, "No, I'm just showing love for my hometown. How about that?"
While we have a moment here, Travis Reier, any second now. Remember, in the next hour, I promise we'll hit the topic wheel presented by Victory Land. We've got several on there, but boy, we've been busy. We've been letting you know the history of the Maui airport, and yesterday we were talking about whether or not the ring girl at the Paul Tyson fight, whether she was augmented or something.
Did I get a lot of response from people on the River Region Straw VIP text hotline about that subject yesterday?
Number one, she's beautiful regardless. And I mean, believe me, I'm no expert on that type of thing. I thought, aren't they should be considered natural if you consider them at all. I mean, if that's your thing, until it's just obvious.
Yeah, those just seemed a little out of proportion. Hey, but that's okay. If you're into things like that, good for you.
Yeah, no.
Is she still a student? I mean, I got the impression
that's my understanding.
Still a student at the University
of Alabama. Yeah, evidently so. I don't know how much longer because she is absolutely blowing up. She's going to get contracts and offers and all this kind of stuff. It might be better for her to go to the new college or whatever and get her degree later on online or something.
I just would be curious to know where she's from, what her hometown is.
So this is what we get caught up in every once in a while. The Maui airport, the ring girl at the Tyson Paul fight, stuff like that. We kind of always have quite a bit because we have wide and ranging interests.
Hey, Theotis has a good point. Maybe she can be on the cast of Baywatch. She would be a perfect cast member in Baywatch.
Is that
still a show?
No, do they do? Yeah, I think it is. I don't know. I should know. Yeah.
Travis is probably wondering what in the world are these two knuckleheads talking about. Travis Reier.
He does that when he's actually on the air with us.
Travis Reier joining us on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Reier on YouTube. Travis, good morning. How you doing today?
I'm great. I thought maybe for a second David Hasselhoff had hijacked my spot here on a Tuesday.
Well, we were talking about the young lady that's a student at Alabama that was one of the ring girls in the fight over the weekend. Yeah, talking about her.
Okay. Well,
okay. I thought maybe Travis knew. That's.
I would have guessed more maybe Ole Miss for that. But hey,
maybe so. Maybe so. We have resolved that we would ask you this. It's a difficult question, and you can take it wherever you want to go. But Travis, what were your takeaways from the 52-7 win over Mercer for the Crimson Tide on Saturday?
Yeah, usually when you play 5 quarterbacks in a game, that kind of game went the way you wanted it to, and that was the case for Alabama on Saturday. You just don't see that very often. But yeah, they got out of it relatively new injury free. So that was the main priority with what they've got coming up here in these defining 2 weeks. Sat Jaden Roberts. So that was a positive, I thought. Try to get him as ready as possible, given the issues he's been working throughout the season. And defensively, it is an FCS opponent, a quality one in Mercer. But you still take the football away multiple times once again, kind of keep that thing warm. You want to keep that going as much as you possibly can, even get a defensive score out of it. And then offensively, it was good to see them from the outset in a game like that, reward some of these tight ends and reward some of these guys that we haven't seen as much on the ball this season. Robbie Oots, CJ Dupree, and get Jeremy Bernard going in the game because you're definitely going to need him these next 2 weeks. I thought Alabama offensively came out in a way in which it totally understands that whereas Oklahoma and Auburn aren't necessarily where they want to be, certainly from a record perspective, defensively, they can do enough against the run to not allow you to be just as entirely balanced as you want to be in these next two games. So you're still going to have to throw it. Even if Jalen's feeling better, even if the run game with him is so hard to defend, which we know it is, you got to be multifaceted on offense. And it seemed like they worked on that Saturday too.
Obviously, things ramp up in importance and in pressure. You mentioned Oklahoma, you mentioned Auburn. Your thoughts about Alabama traveling to Norman for a night game this coming Saturday?
Yeah, it's one of those games too, because I would say Alabama is still a tick more talented than Oklahoma, and Oklahoma offensively has been abhorrent. So you're thinking, if nothing else, if it comes down to it, you can win that kind of game with your defense. Now, you'd rather not put that to the test. Obviously, you want to follow the blueprint that South Carolina went in there with and just decimated OU from the start. I just don't get the sense that's going to be the case this week. I don't think it's going to be that easy. You got a senior night scenario at OU. That's a proud program. They're going to show up from the start. And then it's going to be on Alabama to follow more of what it did at LSU than at Tennessee and kind of take control and take command of that game from the outset.
Can you appraise Alabama's position for the postseason college football playoff tonight? Alabama in a good spot, needs some work. You don't like it. Where are you in terms of their prospects now with 2 games left for the postseason?
I would say good, but somewhat awkward position for Alabama, because I think tonight you're going to look at those rankings and say, yeah, if Alabama wins these last 2 games, should be safe as kittens where the college football playoff is concerned. But as we know, after Georgia's win over Tennessee Saturday night, things brightened, I guess you could say, for Alabama making the SEC championship game. And so there's a couple of lines of thought on that. At Alabama, you're playing for the bigger trophy, and you've done it in previous years, not even gone to Atlanta and then won the national title. And I don't think in those years people really thought that much about an SEC title. But I think from a player perspective, a coach perspective, if you put that up on the grease board in August and say, okay, here's the primary goal, first and foremost, let's get to Atlanta, then you can't really walk that back now. And I understand 12-team college football playoff, probably not as primary of a primary goal as it once was to get to Atlanta, but still, those guys want rings. They want to win championships. So I think their answer to that question might be a little bit different than some of the fan base.
Travis, I've read and heard a lot about Alabama's path to Atlanta. They got to win out, obviously, against Oklahoma and against Auburn, but also Missouri has got to win one of their next 2. What I have not heard is if Alabama does win out, but Missouri does not win out, then what happens?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think then you start going back to Tennessee and Georgia and perhaps even Ole Miss. So that could be very fascinating. Missouri, I would think, gets a win this Saturday at Mississippi State and then gets Arkansas at home on the final weekend. But nothing would surprise me at this point. I would probably lean more to Missouri handling its business in that equation as anything else.
That makes sense. Travis, here we are. We normally don't spend a lot of time on recruiting, and I'm not talking about it here, but it's my understanding this is the time of the year, 2-3 games left in the regular year, where schools these days are having to really ramp up their recruitment of their own roster. Is that overstated, or in your understanding, is that a consideration in this day and age?
I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think that's why games like Saturday are still important for Alabama. They're roster dynamic type of games. They're an opportunity late in a long season to get some guys that maybe are feeling a little bit passed over and forgotten some opportunities. Now, some of those guys have already made up their minds. I don't think it's going to matter with a handful of guys on every roster. And they're probably looking at games like that as a chance to get some tape for their next stop. So, it kind of works both ways with that. But I think between also trying to solidify all the hard work you did through June on the recruiting trail is in play. You've seen it with Alabama, a couple decommitments here of late. Caleb Cunningham, the 5-star wide receiver, now says he's going to stay home and play for Ole Miss. It felt like at the time, back in July, I was doing all of these commitment videos, all of these breaking news recruiting videos. And in the back of my mind, the whole time, I'm thinking, you know what? We're going to be doing these same videos in November and December. It just felt like empty work. Now, I understand, look, they got some views. People are locked in and they want to know it as it happens. But with the way things are structured right now, not just from a roster perspective, but just in terms of keeping your class what you want it to be, is a long haul from July to December.
Travis, your takeaways of Alabama's loss to Purdue in basketball last week, and Illinois coming up tomorrow night in Birmingham.
Yeah, give Purdue a lot of credit. Their big three came through in a big way. I think they combined for like 60 of Purdue's 86, 87 points in the game. And home court there in West Lafayette is a real thing. And I didn't think Alabama's frontline players really rose to the challenge as much as you might expect. Wasn't a great night for Mark Sears. Grant Nelson ends up with a double-double. He's efficient from the field, but still got some bad matchups in the paint for him with Kaufman-Wren, who lit them up in the post until they really got Cliff on him enough that he could do some stuff against him with his length and his size. So, I think some things, this is exactly what Nate Oates wants too. I mean, he wants some things exposed. He wants some things revealed. How are we going to play certain situations when it really, really matters after the new year? I think he got some answers to that, especially in the post. And they need their frontline guys to be better on a consistent basis, and they usually are. But I thought a bright spot was LeBaron Philon. You talk about young players in a moment like that, in a road situation like that. Sometimes it can be a little big for him. And I thought it was a little big maybe for a couple of Alabama's freshmen, but it wasn't for LeBaron Philon. I mean, he was, as the kids like to say, he was there for all the smoke. And he is something else, man. He can get it done. And so that was a positive. And, they gotta bounce back quick because it's another Big Ten legitimate tough opponent tomorrow night in Birmingham. And this stretch is going to be very interesting here over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, very telling, and certainly help to prepare them as well. Quick question here, just in terms of talent appraisal. If you were advising Jalen Milroe about next year, what would your advice lean to being?
Gosh, that's a tough one because
I think
now
so too.
with NIL, it changes things. If there was an NIL, I would probably default to this is probably the ceiling for Jalen at the college level. Do I think he still has some room to grow? Yeah, I think he does. Do I think he may actually better accomplish that at the next level? Especially with, where he's at right now. It'd be tough still, even without NIL. I think he still needs development, and he is showing continued signs of improvement. And so from that standpoint, in this offense with Kalen and Nick Sheridan, I think he can get a lot of what you would think you might want to go ahead and get in the National Football League. Let's say Tommy Rees is still in Tuscaloosa and the offense from last year is still in Tuscaloosa. Maybe he's at his ceiling in that approach, but I don't think that's the case with this approach. And so that's a tough one. I know guys are ready a lot of times or feel like they are to go ahead and jump in. And, and just in terms of round potential, that's where I'm not sure it matters all that much if Jalen comes back for another year. You've got 2 years of tape. I think those people are going to kind of think they know anyway where you are and where you're going to be in a year. So it may not offer him as much round potential value if he comes back.
Oh, right. Well, let me ask you this then as a follow-up. If Jalen goes, if he's not on the team next year, from what you saw on Saturday, and everybody talks about Ty Simpson, but is Dylan Lonergan, could he be a factor in the race next year?
Yeah, I think Dylan Lonergan's perfect for that system because he always seems calm under pressure. He always seems to have a good understanding of where the ball needs to go and it comes out quickly. And really, he was like that in the previous system, too. He's just got that sort of makeup, it seems like. I think it would be interesting. I think most people anticipate if Jalen's not back, it will sort of default to Ty, and that's understandable. We still saw some things from him on Saturday that make you comfortable in thinking that would be the case. But, I've said this about Dylan Lonergan since his freshman year. I think there are plenty of places around the Southeastern Conference where teams would feel pretty good about him stepping in there in 2025 and being the guy.
Travis Reier joining us here this morning as he does each and every Tuesday. Travis, I heard some national guys talking about the Jags yesterday. Tough day up in Detroit for Jacksonville.
John.
Is Bill Belichick a realistic candidate to be the next head coach at Jacksonville?
I think everybody is right now. I mean, with the net that's been cast in terms of speculation, it's a great question. I know there's been some parallels drawn between Belichick and current GM Trent Baalke. I just don't know if they're going to do a partial change out there with Doug Peterson or Trent Baalke. That's the big question. And, I think a lot of dots have been connected and they're sensible, but I don't think there's a true feel right now that, oh yeah, this is certainly a pivot type of situation with Bill Belichick being the next guy up. So there are a lot of people that are sort of wanting the elite play caller like Ben Johnson in Detroit. For me, from what I can gather, it's a culture thing more than anything else. Everybody wants the quarterback whisperer. Everybody wants the play caller. But, man, this is a soft football team. And that's not going to change just because you bring in a highly regarded quarterback coach and or play caller. I know it is largely about the quarterback, but they have got to develop an edge and a crust to them that they really haven't had. Even in 2022, when they made the run, it wasn't because they were a tough physical football team. Yeah, you could bring in Ben Johnson, but is he going to bring Dan Campbell's culture with him? I know he's in Detroit, but that doesn't necessarily mean, you're going to get the Dan Campbell effect in terms of your locker room and your culture overall. That's what they need more than anything else. They need a Vrabel type to me. They need a Campbell type. And I don't know if 72-year-old Bill Belichick brings that to him.
Just to give you some perspective, Jags lose against Detroit 52-6. Detroit set team records, franchise records in points, in point differential, in first downs. John, they had 38 first downs in that game. They outgained Tampa. They outgained the Jags, my Jaguars, by 475 yards. They didn't gain 475. They gained 475 more than that's the largest total offense differential in over 50 years in the NFL.
I was on a text chain with a couple buddies, Jags folks, and we actually got to the point where we were cheering on the consecutive possessions with a touchdown because we were of the mindset, if you're going to do it right, let's do this big. And
do it right,
I mean, the Jags were basically the Lions FCS game, except we didn't get a check. We didn't even get a check for that. So
they looked like the Washington Generals.
Didn't they? Yeah. Hey, Travis, I thought you had a great question on X on your second helping. Thinking that this week feels a lot like last weekend in SEC college football, particularly with some road teams, Texas A&M at Auburn, Ole Miss at Florida, and Alabama at Oklahoma. Which of the three is least likely to get it done on the road? Have you answered that yet?
I have not. We're going to do that on the show later in the week, but we posed it last night as a kind of part of the Week 12 review, and I think it is. I think those three games, you look at Texas A&M, Alabama, and Ole Miss. They're all fighting for their lives where the college football playoff is concerned, even where perhaps even the SEC championship is concerned. And they're all on the road against pretty similar opponents. So I guess as much as anything, it could be asked too, which of those three do you trust the most to come out of the weekend with a win on the road? And boy, as much love as Ole Miss is getting right now, I would be a little bit worried about that team going to Gainesville because Florida's feeling it right now. Now, look, we can say that that was a circling the drain LSU team that still ran 92 plays against the Gators on Saturday, and Florida somehow held LSU to 16 points. Do the math on that. But yeah, I think for Alabama, it's a dangerous situation. Oklahoma coming off a bye week. It's that senior night type of deal. And, and then also for Texas A&M. I thought Auburn got a feel-good performance, certainly against ULM. So I don't think all three are coming through it Saturday. I'm not ready yet to say which one is least likely to come through it, but I'm going into it thinking at least one of those could have a problem.
Yep.
There's so much content. I love Second Watch with Ryer on YouTube. I love No Sleep Teal. Somebody asked me the other day, where in the world is Dogwood Lakes? Because you had a you had a chicken salad review at Dogwood Lakes, Travis.
Yeah, Dogwood Lakes is out kind of middle of the panhandle of Florida. It's like between Tallahassee and Pensacola, and you got to it's a destination. I'll say that about Dogwood Lakes. But I stumbled upon it, headed out to Mobile to do a speaking engagement, got off of I-10, played 9 holes, had some really good chicken salad. So hey, any golf course that has dice for the tee markers, count me in for that place.
That's my kind of
don't count me in for the don't count me for the Saturday morning game. Because
that is fantastic.
I don't need to get just please. Yeah.
Now, were all the tee markers showing 7, or did they have the number for what the particular hole was?
Yeah.
I think it was snake eyes.
Eyes. I might have asked you this, Travis. Just want to make sure. Have you had the chicken salad at Costco yet?
You've asked me that, and I was at Costco a couple days ago, and I didn't grab it, but I'm going to. And the wife is actually opening a food and gift shop, and the chicken salad is going to be a part of that. So we may have to do a chicken salad review when I can do the video here coming up on one of these Tuesdays. We'll do hers. We'll do the store's going to be named Party Girl, and so we'll do a Party Girl chicken salad review.
Hey, we need to you need to do your drop in live from there. We can take a tour in the whole deal. That sounds great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'm thinking I may have to. It's such an all hands on deck situation. She may even have to have me in there. So that's a real possibility for sure.
I'd love to see that. Again, Ryer on YouTube. So much stuff. How do people get involved with it and find out more about it?
Yeah, I'm right there on X/Twitter at Travis Ryer, TravisReier. And then, of course, right there on YouTube. Last night, we did a second helping with my good friend Brent Beard. Talked a lot of Southeastern Conference football. That is archived right now at Ryer on YouTube.
Travis, thank you so much, my friend. We greatly appreciate it. Have a great week. We'll talk next Tuesday.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Hi, buddy. Thank you. On our City of Montgomery guest hotline, Travis Ryer, talking Tide along with so many other great topics as well. Always appreciates Travis's time.
He's talking about, at the Jags game. I mean, I've been a Jaguars fan since '95 when the franchise has gone, and they lose that one 52-6.
I hated to bring it up.
There was zero going right for the Jags. He said he and a bunch of his buddies were saying, all right, they've scored touchdowns on 4 straight drives. Let's keep it going. That reminds me, what was that year when Auburn played Alabama? I think it was Chiswick's last year, and it was 49-0.
Yeah.
Some of the Auburn fans are saying, hey, let's see if they can do it. They're making book on Alabama getting,
it was 42-0 at halftime.
Yeah, and some of my Auburn fans are saying, if you're going to do it, man, a loss is a loss. It really doesn't matter, except in Vegas.
I'm just
amazed
how much you lose
by.
how Saban dialed it down just to score one touchdown in the entire second half. That's hard to believe.
And all the Dannies from Margaritaville are going, no,
No,
throw
pour it
deep.
on,
Come
pour it
on.
on.
Exactly right.
You know, I feel sorry for Mac Jones.
Golly.
Man, what a tough gum. He's filling in. When is Trevor Lawrence coming back, or is he out for the year?
He's going to come back. At least I hope he's going to come back. Health-wise, he'll be able to come back. I think he looks around and says, no, guys, it still hurts.
Yeah. Oh, my arm.
Yeah.
All right, when we get back, we're going to start spinning the wheel. We got a lot of other things we're going to get to today as well. What about Travis's question? Those 3 SEC teams that are on the road, I'm with him. Somebody's losing.
Oh, yeah.
Which one is it?
Which ones? And what is the effect of that? In conjunction with Yellowhammer News, he's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. This is Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Enjoy all the food, drink, fun, and winning at Victoryland. An elevated entertainment value, the best overall casino experience, and the highest jackpot payouts makes Victoryland the place to be. Go to Victoryland.com to find out more about their incredible giveaways, daily promotions, and free play opportunities. 777 Casino, Simulcast Thoroughbred, and Greyhound Racing are all within a short drive from anywhere in the Southeast. Victoryland, I-85, Exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. At Victoryland, you can be a winner too.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. Their licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946. Okay, here are back at it on a Tuesday here, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Ole Miss at Florida, A&M at Auburn, Alabama at Oklahoma. You know, I'm thinking that too. I don't want to let too much out of the bag because Friday at 8:05 might be.
No. You can't save it. Yeah, you got to get it out.
I'm with Travis. I'm looking at one game in particular. I think the road teams could definitely lose. And maybe another one as well. So I'll just leave it at that. But I think Travis is on to something there.
I think out of those three, the most likely is Texas A&M losing at Auburn. Oklahoma is 5-5. Their offense is atrocious. Brent Venables has been going through some stuff. His wife, who had battled cancer before, has had it recur. She had surgery last week, is doing great and all that. So, you know, he's going through a whole lot.
Yeah.
Ole Miss in Florida, in Gainesville.
Mm,
I don't know that Ole Miss loses that game. They could, certainly. Florida looked pretty doggone good against LSU, even though LSU led in just about everything. You look at the stats in that game, how did LSU lose it? But
how many plays did they run, Travis said?
a jillion. Hang on, I'll look that up.
92?
But yeah, I'm telling you, they the stats in that game. LSU, they end up, well, they're not giving me total plays. LSU had 25 first downs to 13 for Florida. LSU was 13 of 24 on third down. Florida was 3 of 9. LSU outgained them. LSU outpassed them. LSU outrushed them. But Florida sacked LSU 7 times. How in the world Florida won that's beyond me. And that's one of the reasons why everybody from LSU so steamed at Brian Kelly. No way they should have lost that game. I want to say LSU ran 92 plays in that drive. I do not think that Ole Miss gets over the 10.
I think that's interesting too.
Yeah.
I think that 10 might be a little much. I think Kentucky, they will not go into Austin and beat Texas. I'm not, Vanderbilt, I don't think they're going to win. If Vanderbilt beats LSU, Brian Kelly won't make it back to his house.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening necessarily. But boy, what a story that would be. Barry, this is actually crap week number 3. I don't believe it's on the wheel today. Maybe it will be tomorrow. But when SEC teams have games against teams like La Tech, UMass, Wofford, and UTEP, that constitutes another crap week. So 2 weeks in a row.
Well,
can we get these weeks off the schedule?
Let's throw this out there on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Hopefully, last night at Jerry World is one
it's
of
on the wheel. Oh, yeah. It's on the wheel.
We want again, Monday night is the coaches show, Coach Jared Parker. It was a great one last night. Not only did we have Troy head football coach Jared Parker after the win at Georgia Southern, but also Sunbelt Offensive Player of the Week, Matthew Caldwell, the walk-on quarterback, and linebacker Jordan Stringer. Then after that, we got home and just had the game on.
Oh, yeah.
I think a section of the roof fell down during the
that.
game or something like that, and they were talking about it. Nobody got hurt. Nobody was close to getting hurt or anything like that. But that was the highlight for Dallas. When are they going to learn in the NFL? Stop it with the Cowboys all the time. Anyway.
Yeah, was it me or did the Texans' uniforms look darker than normal? I thought they were navy blue. Those uniforms look black.
Black, yeah. I want to say they had one deal where one uniform combination, it may have been last week, where it was black and the numbers were dark red. The numbers were white yesterday. How in the world can you see that? Yeah, this is, let's read this. Watch this.
She's been with the Dallas Cowboys for 35 years.
Wow, that's a piece of the roof that fell off there.
Yeah, and I mean, they showed a little video of it on the telecast. It happened before the game, but it was just, it's been that kind of a year for Jerry. The team's losing, Dak is hurt, the team's roof is falling down.
It's just all bad. Bad.
Tough.
Hey, Josh, I hear you, buddy. Play a 9-game schedule in the SEC. Josh is coming. It is coming. I'm telling you.
Yeah, with 16 teams, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, it's kind of like all these years. I said, I'm telling you, that we're expanding the playoff. People said I was crazy. They didn't want to hear it. They gave me the lip flutter. The 9-game conference schedule, Josh, is coming. We got one more year of this crazy, wacky stuff that we got going on now. In 2026, 9 games in the conference will be here. Just mark it down.
I hearken back to the day when life was simpler, and it's not necessarily just that John says, extend the playoff. It's that he was feeding us the biggest crock of crap week number 3 that you ever want to see in your life. See, Barry, you ought to be for that. It will give more of a chance for the group of 5. Now, I've talked with Dr. Jack Hawkins, the Troy Chancellor, who's in Vietnam right now, and he's on the College Football Board of Presidents that helps set the path of the college. He said it's a great thing for a group of 5, and I believe him. I always believe him. But when you're talking about, and I knew John would do it, now we need, all right, we've got a 12. Now we need 16. 16 is what? 16 is not. See, that'll mean even more. 16 is going to mean more Big Ten. It's going to be more SEC. You're going to get the 5th best team in the SEC that's going to be playing for a championship.
Sure, yeah, it's exactly what we want. And okay, maybe was I a little sly in my plan for a playoff? Maybe did I bend the rules a little bit, bend the truth a little bit? Yeah. I mean, Mountain West, MAC, Sunbelt.
I'm not going to sit here and let you badmouth the United States of America.
We're all for you guys. We want you in our playoffs. Sure we do.
Let me roll up my cuffs on my pants legs here.
If you help us get this playoff initiated, yes,
we'll help you. Let us help you.
We're going to leave a slot just for you guys. It's going to be your slot every year. Now that we got it, we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you. So when we go to, and I know they're talking 14 to, look, why are they even talking 14? Because, we're going 16. 16's a more rounded number. You can make the brackets out a lot easier. It's not a bunch of, come on. We're going 16. And if you guys aren't a part of it, there's nothing I can do. It's out of my hands. I had nothing to do with it.
I've done all I can. I've done everything I can. Yeah. All right. Topic wheel. Here we go.
Let's get it going. Our Victorland 777 topic wheel. Look at all the colors on the wheel today. Sometimes I'm a little concerned that maybe Gurn slips one in there that neither one of us know anything about, but I don't think he's done that today. At least it doesn't.
All right.
All right. Let's go for it. Spin it, Gurn. What we got? Okay. Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble. Could be anything.
Next week is Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We all know that. Somebody asked me, I do not believe we're going to be on the air on Thanksgiving Day. I hope you understand that, but we will be on Wednesday and Friday, so don't fret.
Okay.
The SEC released the kickoff times for the college games next weekend. The Iron Bowl, of course, is going to be at 2:30 from Bryant-Denny Stadium on ABC. I think some of the other kickoff times were quite interesting as well.
The Egg Bowl is going to be on Friday. Didn't it always used to be on Thanksgiving Day?
I believe so, yep.
They bumped it off. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, 2:30 Friday afternoon on ABC. Also ABC, they got a doubleheader Friday in the SEC. Georgia and Georgia Tech Friday at 6:30 from Athens. The Florida State game, I'm still not seeing a time. It's on Saturday. It's on the Deuce. I'm still not seeing a time from Tallahassee. Florida State is 1-9.
I'm surprised that game's not on like the AC. Is it where they play in the game?
Tallahassee.
I'm surprised that's not on the ACC network.
Yeah, so Tennessee at Vanderbilt, that's 11 o'clock in the morning, Saturday, ABC. Louisville and Kentucky, 11 o'clock in the morning on the SEC network. South Carolina at Clemson, 11 o'clock in the morning on ESPN. Arkansas, Missouri, Saturday, 2:30, exactly the same time as the Iron Bowl. Oklahoma and LSU at 6, and then Saturday night. This is the one to keep your eyes on.
Yeah.
Texas at Texas A&M for the first time in a long time.
Ooh, boy.
Can you imagine College Station that day? 6:30 start time between the Aggies and the Longhorns. A combined record of 17-3. Both of them have only lost once in the SEC. They haven't played in years and years and years. It's going to be a mess.
Barry, I'm also
6:30 Saturday
seeing
night.
the Florida State game as a 6 or 6:30.
Yeah, it
what
is still
they're
to be
saying.
determined, but it's going to be at night. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true. So there you
And
go.
for you NFL fans on Thanksgiving, we have Bears at the Lions. Yeah, the Lions always play on Thanksgiving, as do
Right.
the Cowboys. They're hosting the Giants in the afternoon game. And then the night game is the Dolphins at the Packers. Could be a little chilly for the Finns up there in Green Bay. Barry, there also is a Friday NFL game next week as well. Raiders at Chiefs on Friday. They call that Black Friday. And then, of course, a full slate of games on Sunday. Look at that. The Saints are actually hosting a 3:00 game on the December the 1st. No way. Against
Why
the
in the
Rams?
world?
Hey,
Have
they've
things
won 2 in
gotten
a
that
row.
bad?
The Saints have got
Yeah.
1-2 in a row. They're hot. So I guess they're going to put them on at 3:00 next
Against
week.
the
Man,
Rams.
it's about time.
Yeah,
I love it.
Going to be
Okay, so
interesting. Yep,
that
there you
is
go.
the gobble TV schedule for next week.
Yep, there we
that?
go. Let's take a break.
Okay.
Back to the Victoryland topic wheel when we return to Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust.
This is YHN News. I'm Scott Chambers.
Welcome to the holidays. They're officially here. Time for tradition, family gatherings, meals, and the annual scramble of searching for those last-minute gifts. Speaking of gifts, this season Budweiser's got your back. Head to the store right now and look for our Thanksgiving week specials. Why go all over town looking for that perfect gift when Budweiser takes care of everyone in one convenient ice-cold package? When you stock up on Budweiser with our Thanksgiving week specials, you'll have plenty to share with your friends and family. They'll all appreciate that Budweiser's brewed the hard way and has been for 140 years. We use the finest barley, malt, and hops grown in Idaho and Germany. We don't take any shortcuts when we're brewing. That's our tradition. So make the most of your holidays. Stop by your local store now for our Thanksgiving week specials. Grab enough Budweiser for yourself, your friends, and your family. It's a new holiday tradition everyone can enjoy together. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Budweiser Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Enjoy all the food, drink, fun, and winning at Victoryland. An elevated entertainment value, the best overall casino experience, and the highest jackpot payouts makes Victoryland the place to be. Go to Victoryland.com to find out more about their incredible giveaways, daily promotions, and free play opportunities. 777 Casino, Simulcast Thoroughbred, and Greyhound Racing are all within a short drive from anywhere in the Southeast. Victoryland, I-85, Exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. At Victoryland, you can be a winner too. A lot of free play opportunities for you at Victoryland today. 4 of them, as a matter of fact. So take advantage of free play at Victoryland, X22 off I-85 in Shorter, Alabama. You can be a winner too. Also, you can be a winner at the big blowout sale going on at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, the pre-Thanksgiving blowout sale. Every item in the store, crazy, wacky blowout priced. Doorbusters throughout the remainder of the month. Listen to this, $99 for half-carat diamond studs, $16.50 for a diamond tennis bracelet, 5 carats there. What about a baby diamond cross necklace at $299? 1-carat diamond rings, $499, 60% off all diamonds during the pre-Thanksgiving blowout sale going on right now at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, open 7 days a week. 8163 Vaughan Road in Pepper Tree.
And yes, people have asked this about even with the crazy, wacky, insane prices.
Yes,
you
sir.
can still take those crazy, wacky, insane prices and you can start laying away for Christmas. for
Yes, you
any of the
can.
items. Nobody has better layaway terms than Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. The big pre-Thanksgiving blowout goes through November 30th.
Yep, it certainly does. So take advantage of that. Thanks to everybody on the chat line, our River Region Straw chat line. Man, there's a lot going on there. We appreciate it. Email us, Longshore and McKnight at gmail.com. I know Gern's got the Victoryland 777 topic wheel up and ready to go, lock and loaded. Let's spin that thing and see what comes up next. Interesting. Love it.
Yep.
Top 25, Barry. Last week, not so many top 25 matchups in college football. But this week, I'm looking at some good ones, and it starts off early on Saturday with number 5, Indiana, traveling to number 2, Ohio State.
It is a 12.5-point line on that one for the home team. Big game, biggest game in Indiana Hoosier football history. Their head coach, Curt Cignetti, just got a huge raise. He's the highest paid public employee in Indiana University history. Ohio State, a 12.5-point favorite, 11 in the morning on Fox. That is the one of 2 games.
Yep.
No, actually 3 games involving top 25 teams against each other. Another one takes place in Tempe, Arizona, where number 6 BYU, who took their first loss of the year last week against Kansas, they're 9-1. They're at Arizona State. That is a Big 12 matchup these days. Arizona State's number 21 in the country, had a big win last week. They play at 2:30 on ESPN. And then the third battle, ranked versus ranked. I am all about this one. Army and Notre Dame from Yankee Stadium.
Yep.
Army's number 24 in the country. Notre Dame is number 8. Army is 9-0. Notre Dame is 9-1. Army will play in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. They'll play against Tulane. And then, they're still within the realm of the college football playoff at Army, especially if they beat Notre Dame, John. So if they win against Notre Dame, they play for the conference championship. If they win it, they're the conference champions. But then they got to play Navy next week.
Yeah, they do.
That's kind of odd. Notre Dame, by the way, a 14-point favorite over the Black Knights of the Hudson.
3 games tonight in college football. Even looking ahead Thursday night, finally get a matchup that people might recognize who these teams are. NC State at Georgia Tech, an ACC battle on Thursday on ESPN. Just looking ahead, but 3 games tonight. Akron at Kent State, Western Michigan at Central Michigan, and Northern Illinois at Miami of Ohio.
Now, CBS Sports Network tonight, 6 o'clock. If you're watching Akron and Kent State, and I love football, and unlike John, I'll watch any game. I just like watching the competition. John will really get into games involving maybe 12 teams, maybe 14.
Maybe so.
But Akron at Kent State,
from
the
Dick's
number is
Stadium.
Akron. The number is -10. Akron favored by 10. Akron is 2-8. Kent State is 0-10. They actually got their first lead of the year. The real interesting number are people in the stands.
Yeah, I might be interested just to watch a little of that game, Barry, just to see how bad Kent State really is.
They are a combined 2-18.
Yeah.
And it's televised on CBS Sports Network. Get John and me to do that game. I can't because I'm busy. But you got to jazz that baby up. You got to get that dude, that crazy dude who was doing the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. That guy was over the top. He was he was an MMA announcer or whatever.
Yeah.
Get him and Rosie Perez from White Men Can't Jump. She was doing color for that one as well.
Sure, yeah.
You got to jazz that up now. You got to get something else. Woo.
Hey, Terrence, I'm feeling you, man. These games are for the sickos, not the casuals. All right, Gurn, let's spin that wheel yet again.
What do you got?
And it lands on. No, we're not talking about peanut butter.
Now,
We're talking about.
Mayonnaise isn't my favorite. I hate Miracle Whip.
I'm not a Miracle Whip. I gotta have real mayonnaise.
I like the brown mustard rather than just the fluorescent yellow mustard. That's about all I can give you about spreads.
I'm a big Duke's mayo fan. I probably eat more mayo than I should, but I love me some mayo.
Yeah.
All right, Ole Miss laying 10 on the road at Florida. That's a big number, double digits on the road. We talked about Indiana. They're catching 12.5 at Ohio State. Huge Big Ten matchup there. How about UMass catching 42.5 at Georgia? I'm not sure that's enough.
UMass just fired their coach yesterday.
Yeah, how about that?
Walt Bell is gone, yeah.
UTEP also catching 42 at Tennessee. That's an interesting number. 42 seems to be popular.
It is not. It's not interesting. Nothing about that matchup is interesting.
I'm with you there.
Not a thing. Wofford in South Carolina, the Terriers and the Gamecocks, there's no line on it, at least not so you'd notice, because Wofford is FCS.
How about this lookout game? How about this one? Colorado laying 3 at Kansas. Kansas, told you to watch out for them last week. They beat BYU.
Yeah, John had them on upset alert. Sure did.
Yeah, how about a road favorite there? Interesting
now,
in that one.
Kansas 4-6. They haven't had a great year under Lance Leipold, but it's a Fox game. Colorado on the road, and Dion's done a great job. I was wrong about him. But is Joel Klatt doing that game? Because always when I was growing up, you never really.
He's Indiana, Ohio State.
Okay, good. Because you're never supposed to have an alum of the school calling the game. Herb Street's done it before. I know Joel, but Klatt never has had the chance because Colorado always stunk. So
I think McElroy's done an Alabama game, believe it or not.
A bunch, yes. So there's that.
Kentucky catching 20.5 at Texas. We mentioned that a little earlier today on the program. Missouri laying 7.5 at Mississippi State. Bama fans going to be real interested in that one. Need Missouri to win the game outright. Hey, Troy catching 10.5 at Louisiana on so what time's the kick? 4 o'clock?
Kickoff is at 4 o'clock. Louisiana just lost their starting quarterback for the year with a shoulder, so they're going with a backup. He's an experienced guy. I'm just saying. So
I like
there is that.
Like
Let's take.
That.
I think we got one more break, right?
We got A&M minus 2.5 at Auburn, as we mentioned. Alabama minus 14 at Oklahoma, and of course Vanderbilt catching 7.5 at LSU. Some of the bigger games. USC and UCLA is this week. I didn't realize that the Trojans laying 4.5 to the Bruins.
Oh, I didn't see that because my current screen is just ranked teams. Yeah, what a mess between both of those programs. They are a combined 9-11. Wow, have they fallen so far, so fast. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the wheel. In conjunction with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speed associated with our installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Both locations offer fully stocked pro shops with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com.
Heads or tails? Kick or receive? With the wind or against the wind? Buy your friend a Bud Light. Buy a stranger a Bud Light. Go to your team's bar. Go to the opposing team's bar. Buy a round during the next truck commercial. Buy a round during the next talking duck commercial. If you're truly up for whatever this weekend, grab the perfect beer for whatever happens. Crisp, refreshing Bud Light. Make 2 plans and let the NFL coin toss make the call. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Fall into savings at Stivers Ford in Montgomery. At Stivers, they have the largest selection of Ford cars and trucks in Alabama, priced thousands less than other dealers. The F-150 has been America's best-selling truck for 47 years in a row, and they have hundreds to choose from. Save thousands on Ford Explorers, Expeditions, and Edge. Ford Broncos in every style and color, along with Mustangs, are available at incredible low interest rates. Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where Price sells cars and trucks.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air has teamed up for the 4th year with the Food Bank of East Alabama and Montgomery Area Food Bank in an effort to reduce the high percentage of food insecurity within the Montgomery and Auburn communities. For every new Dixie Cares Plan membership that is purchased, Dixie will be donating 7 meals to partnered food banks. Last year alone, Dixie donated 13,356 meals. Our goal for 2024 is 15,000. Thank you for choosing Dixie and for helping us make a difference within our community.
All right, a couple of minutes until the top of the hour on this Tuesday edition of Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Let's spin that wheel, Gern, and see what's left on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. I know we got several more that we're dealing with here today. We'll try to get to as many as we can. Let's spin it. Man, check out the colors today. I like the new colors today.
The orange really stands
Yep.
out.
Monday Night Football last night, Barry. I got to say, I like Houston never gets a lot of run, a lot of recognition. It's all about the Cowboys, not only in the entire country, but of course, the state of Texas. Glad to see Houston knocking, I guess Big Brother off their perch last night.
Yeah. Gosh, the Cowboys were awful.
Isn't it great?
They were terrible. And they're terrible at home. First of all, Houston wins it 34-10.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Cooper Rush is the quarterback for Dallas. Cooper Rush. It was awful. The 6th straight home game in which the Cowboys have trailed by at least 20 points. That is an NFL record. They have trailed by at least 20 in 6 straight home games. They're 3-7. First play of the game. This is how it started. First play of the game, 77-yard touchdown, Nico Collins for the Texans. But wait, there was a flag, ineligible man downfield.
No way. Oh, no way.
A couple of plays later, Joe Mixon, untouched, 45-yard touchdown.
Well, Barry, I'm so glad to see that the Cowboys are suffering so much that the NFL has put them in the 12 o'clock window. Outstanding. Love it. They deserve it. All right, Gern, what's left? Real quick, we'll try to get maybe these two in before the top of the hour. Spin them.
We've already hit college football tonight.
Well, we really have. So, we did.
Yep.
It is tonight. We've told you the 3 games. I jumped the route there on the college football
tonight. Okay, what about hoops?
Of course, Alabama hosting Illinois tomorrow night in Birmingham. They got to bounce back, Barry. That was an embarrassing loss by Alabama. But as Travis said, I think Nate Oates learned a few things in that loss to Purdue. And then when does Auburn leave for Maui? Would you say Thursday?
I know
Thursday.
I know they play on Monday, so I think they leave Friday just to get out, get the little jet lag behind them, toes in the sand and all that. They play Iowa, number 4 Auburn, number 5 Iowa State. I said Iowa. It's Iowa State. That'll be at 8 o'clock Monday on ESPNU, so they've got a little bit of time there. Tonight in SEC basketball, Kentucky hosting Lipscomb, Florida hosting Florida A&M, Georgia hosting Alabama A&M, and LSU versus Charleston Southern. Troy basketball tonight is on the road at West Georgia. They played at Oregon, flew back into Atlanta, and on the way back, they're just catching a game against West Georgia tonight at 6 in Carroll, Georgia, just to get a game in.
How many games how long will Auburn be in Maui?
Let's see.
I mean, you're there past over Thanksgiving?
Yeah, that's going to impact it. They play Monday. They're into Thanksgiving. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would think they'd be out there a minute. That'd be nice.
Yeah. No
kidding.
kidding. It ain't a day trip for sure. Yes.
No, heck no. All right, Barry, tomorrow, our Phoenix Physical Therapy Medical Rehab segment will be here around the bottom of the first hour. I believe C.J. Duncan's going to join us tomorrow as well. He's going to be a regular feature from Yellowhammer News. We'll get his thoughts about what's going on in the world of sports tomorrow as well. We're going to have a lot to talk about. We want to get your feedback as well through our River Region Straw chat line, which is live. You can see it right there on the screen when you check us out. You can always email us as well. I know we got some emails. I just noticed that we had some. Sorry about that. I should have gotten to them earlier, but I promise we'll address them.
We'll get to them
tomorrow.
Yep. Hey, make sure you tell your friends. We rerun the show throughout the day. If there's a segment that you really liked or you want to turn your friends onto this program, just tell them check it out. Longshore and McKnight. Have them search Longshore and McKnight on YouTube. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's been great so far, and we look forward to talking with you again live on the live portion of our show on 7 to 9 on Wednesday. In conjunction with Yellowhammer News, he's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. This is Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.